Market Peak with Seth and Matt. I hate to say it, man, Robinhood, it's just so easy. Like, I try to buy a call. Actually, I ended up getting a put on VXX today.
Nice.
Because
I think that's the right move.
I you've been talking about it for months, dude. I got like, what was it, like a $12 put for like, I don't know, it was like 19 cents a piece. Yeah, it was ridiculous. So I literally
the $12 puts. Oh, going like a month out. Okay.
Yeah, going a month out.
Let's say.
Yeah. No, coming right up. No. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. If it hits, cool. I mean, I've already made a little bit of money on it. Actually, I did, and then the VXS backed up a little bit. But yeah, dude, it's
on the trick. I think the VXS is going to go down to like 11 something.
I hope you're
personally
right.
by Friday.
By Friday? Ooh.
By Friday, dude. I think. So I think the only reason it went up, because I did see what you said, that the VIX went up at the very last second the other day.
Yeah.
Where the VXX did, but I think people buying into all this bullshit about like the Fed, potentially saying something the market won't like. They're not going to say anything that the market won't like. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. But it doesn't matter. Every time they go on there, the public always finds something like negative. And what was it? Retail sales that came out. That was one of the downers that came out. I think it was yesterday or today. I don't know. They're definitely not going to raise rates. I can't imagine they're going to say anything that detrimental. So things might drop a little bit in anticipation, but I don't think there's going to be like, I mean, dude, I got hammered today. As you see, actually, by the way, this is Seth and Matt with Market Peak, PEEK, caught us in the middle of conversation here, and I thought it was a good one. So we just kind of kept it going. But yeah, I lost 25% of my Robinhood account today. And it's funny because the 4.5 call that's here, I was up $500. But as you can see right now, I'm pretty much at a break even. So, but that's all right. We'll see what happens. Because
you have some time, right? Do you have until April?
Yeah, April 19th, something like that.
Oh,
yeah, I have time. I got plenty of time. I'm not worried about it. It just sucks because I was like starting to, even the $7.50 call was starting to make me a little bit of money. But also I got the fuel cell. That's April 23rd, 22.50. Plenty of time for that one as well. Palantir 31. That's actually April 23rd as well. $31 call on that one. Expect that one to do just fine. Picked up half of an Ethereum. I said I was going to start doing that. And sure enough, I have. Still holding on to AMC. I'm still up on AMC. I think I got it like around 11:48. All right. So I'm still up on that. It's just one of those ones I'm just going to hold on to. It's fun to go for the ride.
That's a pretty good entry price.
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, considering where it could possibly go, obviously it could go anywhere. The last high was around 20. There people are saying it could possibly squeeze. Short interest is like, when I looked, it was like 20%, which isn't even close to enough. So, I don't know if it could start squeezing more as it goes higher, more people start shorting it because it's going higher. I'm not really sure. But either way, it's been kind of cool. That's for sure.
So,
yep.
My thing is, if a stock that is expected to squeeze at some point takes a big dip, you can pretty much expect that a lot of people have gone short at that point.
Yep.
Because that sometimes causes the dip.
Sure.
So that right there is like a setup, and that's basically what deep fucking value, like one of the core premises of his argument was.
Yeah.
Like, the more people go short, this is going to reach critical mass. If we don't hit that strike price by, and it's approaching, like, they're going to have to exit out of their positions.
So amazing.
And yet people keep just going short.
Well, it's hard to say if people went short on it today or it just dropped like everything else, or maybe everything just got shorted. So Watt down 10% today. It was actually up 2% post, which really makes me feel good. Shrimp down 7% today. That's why I bought 900 more shares at like 58 cents. But it had a really rough day. It had been holding strong for quite a while. Palantir down 4.4% as well. Tesla 4.39. That's one of your charts for later. So it's interesting. We're going to be actually talking today about fuel cell. the earnings that came out, a little bit about the technology. Also, yeah, Matt's going to have his 3 charts. Just want to say we're not financial advisors, just 2 guys that love the stock market, love talking about it, and why not just put it on camera, right? So it's Tuesday, March 16th. Tuesday is always a rough day. Market's usually down, and today was no different. That's for sure.
Turnaround Tuesday.
So the only stock that I really follow that was up, and I followed quite a few, was Roblox. Everything else was down. It was just a nightmare. So anyway, yeah, we're not financial advisors. None of this is official advice. Please do your D squared. Consult your professionals. Please share, leave your comments, any questions you may have, any thoughts. All that would be great. I already talked about the stuff that I did, which is I did sell all of my Rocket. I did that previously. I did buy some Ethereum, like I said. Wish I would have cashed out that Watt, but I still think Watt's going to hit big. It always has that little pump, like quick 20-30% in a day, and that's what I'm kind of waiting for. I got a month to get there. We'll see. So, all right. So, finally, dude, the VIX finishes sub 20. You've been talking about it for 2 or 3 months, and it has tickled that area for the longest freaking time. You finally got there. So first of all, congratulations. And second of all, so now what? 19.79, by the way. 19.79.
Yeah. I think it drops further.
Yeah.
Even if we get a slight bounce tomorrow, I still think it finishes the week at that 17, 18 level.
Okay. Sure.
Absolutely.
Sure. I can say it's quite nice. As soon as I saw it, because it was actually a little bit lower. As soon as I saw it, like earlier in the day at that level, like the sub 20 level, that's when and here's the thing, I got on TD Ameritrade and it just took freaking forever. So I'm saying about Robinhood, you want to buy a call or put, it's like that. But at the same time, oftentimes you're rounding up 5 cents, so it makes it more attractive. So it will go out. I will say that I was able to bid like right in between the bid and the ask, which is what I normally do to get it, which is a really nice feature that Robinhood doesn't have that you had mentioned a couple times.
Yeah.
So it helps. All right.
Well, at least you cared enough to type in your own bid. I mean,
yeah.
Most people don't do that.
It saved me some money for sure. And like I said, I think I got it for like 19 cents. It's a $12 call, expires in a month, and you feel like it's very possible the VXX could be going down to 11. What would that equate to on the VX, the VIX? Would that be somewhere around?
So it's supposed to be a 1-1, but keep in mind the VXX actually tracks a different tracker that tracks the VIX.
Okay, sure.
And it's actually 2 months forward looking.
Okay.
Too, so you're actually tracking something that tracks the VIX 2-month futures.
Okay.
So basically the VIX goes up, the VXX is supposed to go up like a corresponding amount. Now it does have a built-in feature whereby the price decays over a certain period of time. So you have that to think about. But the VXX has been doing some funny things. It has diverged to the downside.
Yeah,
and
big time.
I think it'll continue to do so.
Okay.
Money's pulling out of that right now.
Yeah, because the VXX right now, where is it? I was doing all right, man. Oh, wait, hold on.
Right above 13, maybe.
I got to go to stocks. VXX, I had it in the index. There we go. Oh, there we go. So, yeah, 13.16.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, did I get an $11 call, $12 call? Let me double check this here. I can edit this, make it quick.
Had a big 5-6% down move yesterday. That was pretty huge.
You did? Or are you talking about the VXX?
No, the VXX.
I gotcha. So,
someone argued
it's
that
11.
Was short covering.
It was $11 put or 11 put. Okay.
Yeah. But I think it's going to get crushed heading into Friday, which also so happens to be options expiration.
Yep, sure does. A lot of fireworks during options expiration. That is for sure, folks. So, all right. Well, that being said, so the Fed meets tomorrow, and we were just discussing it as we were coming into the show, and you feel like it's not really going to have that much of an impact. That being said, we know oftentimes there's going to be a little bit of a dip anyway. Do you anticipate that tomorrow before? What time do they meet? Was it noon, 1 o'clock?
Normally around noon.
Okay.
And then I believe on Thursday, he'll come out and speak, give some words at around 2 o'clock.
Okay.
Eastern Standard Time.
Sure.
So
I got you.
normally there is movement on or around Fed Day, FOMC Day. Hard to tell whether or not there will be movement this time. I'm not expecting any big bouts of volatility, especially given how close we are to the end of rolling options expiration month.
Sure.
And we've already passed through a period of volatility.
Yeah.
We did that a few weeks ago. So I'm anticipating everyone to roll their puts, meaning that volatility will be suppressed.
Okay.
Moving into Friday.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what I'm anticipating.
And you had spoken about, how just about every time we're coming into expiration, the people who are making the market will try to push everything down, get people out of their positions and stuff like that, just to ride it on the way back up right before expiration and stuff.
Yeah, some interesting things happen. A lot of times they'll do that at the beginning of that month.
Okay.
Which is why a lot of times you'll see a big dip out of the blue.
Well, that sucks.
Which, the mainstream media will blame various things for. But anyway,
Sure.
All that does is get people short, get people buying puts on these big indexes. And then 2 to 3 weeks later, the market's still up, the VIX is down. They have to roll out of those positions, which makes them have to buy shares.
Sure.
And then that sends the market
Yeah.
high.
All right.
Yep.
Well, we'll see what happens. I hope you're right. I definitely could use a little bit of a boost. My other accounts did okay, but this Robinhood one, just because I have so many calls in these, stocks that went down. Anyway, so let's go ahead and jump into Fuel Cell. I'm going to go ahead and just discuss earnings real fast, just so we can get into it a little bit. Fuel Cell here. Let's get the full chart, and let's go with the 5-day. So it was a nice little ride, and then all of a sudden earnings came out and just pretty much went straight down. So earnings, they were expecting a loss of 4 cents, ended up doing a loss of 6 cents. So it was 50% worse than they were expecting. They expected 24.5% rise to 20 million. Basically didn't actually dropped a little bit, ended up at 15 million as far as revenue is concerned. Backlog was 1.27 billion, and that was down from 1.3. And that's stuff like, we expect to get paid on this. We haven't gotten the money yet, or it's stuff that's kind of like in the pipeline. So that went down as well. So it was a pretty big loss, I think, from a percentage standpoint, expecting 4 and getting 6. But at the same time, the difference between 4 and 6, like no big deal. People are expecting it to drop. They say every earnings they miss, every time they do this, it drops. And that's exactly what happened. No surprise here, right?
I mean, sometimes anticipation builds up heading into earnings, and, there's a letdown.
Sure.
Happens sometimes. I'm still a big believer in Fuel Cell.
I was let down.
Not only, yeah.
Jeez.
Look, it happens. It's had a pretty good run up over the past year.
True.
Maybe it's time to cool off, but I still think, especially given some of the short interest in this stock, that we're going to see a squeeze ahead.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I hope so.
Remember that April is a traditionally very bullish month for stocks too.
Yeah, true. Very, very true. Especially now with all this money going, I mean, people, especially on the Wall Street bets, all they're talking about is, oh my God, I can't wait to get my check so I can put it in AMC and put it in GME and put it in here.
Yeah.
So, all right, here we go. It's been a rough quarter for fuel cell industry so far. Plug Power, which you're going to be speaking about during your 3 charts, reported deeper Q4 loss than expected. Ballard Power, BLDP, also missed. So I mean, it's been kind of rough out there. What's kind of interesting too is there's a little bit of so you can see right here, Saudi Aramco, which has over 220 billion barrels of oil and natural gas reserves, sees hydrogen fuel making a big impact in the future. But fuel stocks, still fell. And this was actually back in the beginning of March, so it wasn't that long ago. So they're starting to accept it. Looks like if they're smart, which they are, especially in this industry, they'll invest, right?
Yeah, that's really interesting. I would have never expected the largest oil company and one of the most profitable companies in the world to, come out and back fuel
It's
cells.
pretty impressive.
That's
It
interesting.
says a lot about the technology, and also, talks, says a lot about how forthright they are and how forward thinking they are, and realizing like, hey, this is the future. We need to get on board now, because sooner or later, what we're known for is not going to be, it's not going to be around forever. So I think it's pretty awesome. Gotta say. So, all right.
Was there
So,
anything in the news about the Saudi sovereign wealth fund actually purchasing shares? Did they mention anything about that?
I didn't see that. Hold on one second here. Aramco, the world's largest oil company, is already making moves in the hydrogen space. It shipped 40 tons of blue ammonia to Japan in October. Ammonia, a chemical made from nitrogen and hydrogen, is a way to store and ship hydrogen. That's pretty much all it has
Okay,
for this. So nothing
interesting.
specifically, but they're definitely making moves on how to actually store it and ship it. And we'll go into, I mean, you're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about the power plants and all that, and then we'll go into some of the positives and negatives. But a lot of negatives is it is not easy just to store, let alone transport and stuff. That's for
Hmm.
sure. So, all right. So, yeah, please take it away. I have a Sure Source 3000. They have a 4000. These are the different power plants that they have. And I'll just have that up here and you can go ahead and do your thing.
Okay, so the SureSource 3000 power plant is what fuel cell sells. And what I'm going to cover really quickly is the actual fuel cell module,
Sure.
which is, obviously an integral part of that set.
Yeah.
And basically, what the fuel cell module is it's like a housing for fuel cell grids. And what these fuel cells do in particular is they convert hydrogen gas, which they extract from natural gas or biogas, into electricity. So you have in the fuel cell itself an anode and a cathode. There is a chemical reaction between hydrogen gas, and basically what is produced is water, electricity, and a little bit of heat.
And that's
There's no
why
combustion.
And that's why everyone loves it so much,
Yeah,
because the byproduct is water. Like it doesn't get any cleaner than
yeah,
that.
exactly. And that's huge. And it doesn't generate heat to the point where you have to worry about things melting. You're not flash boiling a ton of water. It's easier to cool, right? The
Sure.
reaction. So a lot of things to like. Um, these hydrogen cells will get cheaper and cheaper to produce
100%.
as companies like Fuel Cell scale their operations. So that's a big plus. And I mean, overall, I'd say that these Sure Source 3000 power modules are definitely the wave of the future. They're small, they're relatively quiet compared to their fossil fuel peers, and you can fit them in small spaces.
Yeah.
So they're kind of like, adaptable for city situations, right? I know you live in a big city, you're from a big city.
Sure.
Imagine having, a fuel cell module, in your backyard that you can't really hear.
Be great.
It's not emitting any pollutants. It does emit a very low amount of carbon, but you really can't avoid that.
Sure.
Um, but I mean, I think this is the future, and I think the more they sell, they've sold about 100. There are 100 plants up and running right now,
Okay. Wow.
so that's huge.
That
But the
is
more they
huge.
sell, the more money they make, the more they scale, and the more they can, deliver affordable power solutions that don't pollute the atmosphere,
And it's
and that run on renewable energy.
it's the way things are going. What's crazy is you can extract the hydrogen from water, because water is two parts hydrogen, obviously. I'm sorry, one
Yeah,
part hydrogen, two parts oxygen. So you can extract it and get the oxygen, and then the byproduct of that is water. So you can use the water, extract it again. So you can almost like create a little bit of a loop there, which also makes it, kind of like a self-contained situation. Obviously, that's a really more expensive way to do that. But still, it's just really really cool. That's for sure.
yeah. I mean, it's just harnessing the power of hydrogen, which has inherently a lot of chemical energy,
A ton. Yeah.
and it just reacts with oxygen.
100%. 100%. And obviously you need oxygen, That's the thing. Anything that's burning on this earth is because there's oxygen in the air. If there wasn't oxygen in the air, none of it would burn. Wood wouldn't burn. Like everyone thinks, oh, it's burning. It is, but you still need the oxygen in the air. So I don't know, just a little sidebar there. All right. Any other thoughts on that? Before I do a couple of yeah, please.
So all I'll say in leaving is that there's a lot of commercial application.
Okay, sure.
And energy suppliers are going to start jumping in because that's another big aspect.
Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, exactly. That's interesting. I'd like to follow up on that later.
Yeah, for sure.
Because that's huge. One more thing. Also know that FCEL is looking to partner more heavily with Asian countries, particularly Japan.
Sure.
You have a big hydrogen vehicle initiative right now, particularly in South Korea. They're looking to put, I believe, 6 million hydrogen cell-fueled vehicles on the road by 2040.
Wow.
And the thing is, you only have a select few companies doing this, Fuel Cell being one of them. So, I mean, unless you have a ton of competitors suddenly flood into the market, they kind of have, things cornered to a certain degree.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if someone's looking to buy or distribute, as a third party, this energy source, there's only a handful of people they can go to.
Sure.
Fuel Cell being one of them.
I think one of the biggest challenges, so let's just, a couple, we'll go ahead and talk about it. I have a couple positives other than the stuff that we've already spoken about. And you kind of brought it in, or you kind of mentioned it already. But it's super, super efficient. It has a lot more energy. Like if you were to take gasoline and hydrogen in equal amounts, you just get so much more. They use it for rocket fuel. So as you were saying, yeah, it does have a lot more energy, but at the same time, it also makes it much more dangerous and much more difficult to transport and stuff. But the thing is, because you can get it out of water, they say unlimited supply. It's not unlimited, from the literal sense, but if you consider all the oceans, yeah, we have enough hydrogen on this earth. It's the most abundant element. It's the first element, one electron, one proton, one neutron. It's the most abundant element out there. So it's all over the place. So it's definitely one that truly is, unless you're talking on a galactic scale, whatever that means, you just could not run out of the stuff, So a couple of the downsides, actually, let me get these from here because I have them out here. And this is actually from conserveenergyfuture.com. So a couple of the downsides. Number one, it's very, very expensive just to get all these contraptions put in. You got to get somehow the energy. It's got to get put into the grid. Where are you going to get the hydrogen from as well? Storage complications because it's so light. It's super, super light. It's the lightest element on the planet. Yeah. In the world, in the universe, whatever. So in existence that we know it. So you really have to compress it into a liquid in order to get it to where you can pour it or just get it, from one destination to the other. But the problem is, in order to do that, it also has to be super, super cold. So storage is just a pain in the butt, which also makes it extremely volatile. So you pour some of that, in the air, you're going to see a little bit of an explosion.
Stable.
Yeah, 100%. So it's not the safest source. We already talked about that. Super, super flammable, super unstable, tricky to move around. I already mentioned that. Depend on fossil fuels. It says that, but realistically, it's because a lot of these plants and these trucks that transport it still use fossil fuels. So you do have to consider that when you're talking about your carbon footprint. It says cannot sustain population. That's now. They go on to talk about now. There's all this other stuff that needs to be done. But realistically, if they can find a way to be able to really store it and transport it and keep it safe on a much larger scale, because right now they only want to transfer it. You can see little tanks. You're not going to see a big tanker truck full of this stuff. They're scared to store that much of it or transport that much of it at once. If they can figure that out, that's really going to cut costs down.
You talk to OSHA for that.
Yeah, right? For sure. But I don't know. That's all we got. Let me actually, sequestration. So another thing they can do, because what they need to actually do this chemical process is just air. And so what they can do is they can take the air, the exhaust from a coal plant, put it into these things, and use that as their catalyst and sequester the carbon on the side.
Interesting.
Yeah, dude. And so, and they can take that carbon. I mean, dude, it's just, so they would take the exhaust directly. Yeah. Or do whatever it is they got to do, you know?
Wow.
Han Solo somebody if they wanted to. Anyway, so that's, yeah, it's pretty awesome. So not only does it not have its own byproduct of sorts, but, you know, if you want to put one close to a coal facility or coal, what do you call it? Not reactor, coal burning.
Coal fuel power plant.
There you go. So you want to put those, and then the exhaust goes straight to them. I mean, so that means they're literally, you know, running even more inefficiently and helping the planet even more above that. So it's just pretty cool, man.
Interesting.
Yeah, man. That's it. So any last minute thoughts?
I'll just say that I really do feel like we're getting in on the ground floor here.
Sure.
And I mean, the fact that they're having issues finding reliable suppliers tells you that this space is just getting started. And I know there's interest in renewable energy. Just look at the price of uranium. Just look at all these uranium miners.
Yeah.
Right now, they're blowing up because there's a pivot to clean energy. Yeah.
I'll pull it up right here.
I think we've only scratched the surface.
It exploded.
Clean energy trade, to be honest.
In the past,
only scratched the surface.
I agree. Look at that. Went from 513, went up to like 7. You know, it was up like 30-40% just in a couple of days. Obviously, it settled down. Actually, now's a good time to jump in because it went down just about everything else.
I was going to say that too, actually.
So
it looks like it's settling down on some sort of support.
Yeah, it really is. I'd like to get some, but I put it into Ethereum instead. You know, I said I was going to buy some, and we had this conversation how Monday comes and you like all of a sudden plans change. I'm like, no, I'm going to just stick to my plan. So I bought some Ethereum instead. Very proud of myself. We'll see how it goes.
Always stick to your plan, because the second you pull out, you regret it.
Yeah, for sure. No doubt. All right. Well, I guess it's time for everyone's favorite segment, 3 Charts with Matt. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up here, index. There we go. We'll get the full chart. Here we go. And I'll pull out the 5-day. We kind of already talked about it at the beginning of the show as we are leading in, but please go for it. 1979.
So, 1979, talking about the VIX. Okay, so it finally closed a daily candle below that critical support level. I expect it again to go lower. There's nothing but air between between that 20 level and that 17.5 level. And I think we're going to close the gap.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I hope so. I hope so. You've been prophesizing, you know, a sub 20 finish and, you know, and actually if you watch the end of the day, it really just like tanked. I mean, not tanked, but over the course of what you saw over the course of the day, it just went straight down. I hope you're right.
Yeah. Could be some short covering heading into the FOMC meeting, but again, even if we do get a slight bounce tomorrow due to, you know, some Fed-induced volatility nonsense, I still think it's getting crushed heading into Friday.
Sure.
I mean, if you just look at its ETS, the VXX, the UVXY, they're hurting bad.
Yeah,
they're hurting bad. They're in full collapse right now.
Sure.
So I mean, and look, you can play it both ways. I'm playing it both ways right now. I've got puts and calls on the VXX in the money strike prices going a month out, and I'm anticipating some sort of action, some range there. Off which to profit. So
it's funny because
I just think we're heading down before we head up.
I hope so. I mean, it dips just below, like right around. Actually, it's a little below where the support line is. So it's decided it wanted to go below, which is great, of course.
Yeah, and it's been like a whole year since it was below that level.
Sure, I agree.
And I mean, I think if we do go down to that 17.5, 18 level and we get a little spike, I think after that, over the next 6 months, we're heading down to new all-time lows on the cash index.
You think so? Okay.
like a 7 or an 8.
So
Absolutely.
this throws out
Absolutely. Mark my words.
The May collapse that everyone, not collapse, but the May dip that everyone's thinking about. No,
Yeah, sell may go away. That is what they say. I don't know if we're going to get a collapse.
well, not collapse, but
anytime soon.
correction, whatever.
Yeah, just like a convincing enough, dip to make people think that
Sure.
they should buy puts when they should really be buying calls.
There you go. All right.
I'm assuming that's what you're talking about.
Sure. All right. Well, let's move on to Tesla, and then we'll finish up with plugs. So Tesla's, it's had an interesting run. I guess we'll pull out the 1 month here. Actually, no, that doesn't give us the story. There's the story. So yeah, I mean, we were doing pretty well, almost at 900, dipped way down into like 550, 560, settling at 670, 688. It's actually a nice little healthy rebound.
So the big line of support to me was around 520.
Okay.
And the fact that we didn't make it all the way there is bullish to me.
Okay, sure.
It does look like Tesla is rallying on volume right now. We'll see if it chops around. I do actually expect it to consolidate a little before heading higher. But I think now is as good a time as any to jump in.
Sure.
Especially if you're just long Tesla.
I mean, honestly,
that being
maybe like a week ago would have been perfect, but still, it's actually at a really good spot right now. Where it's probably it seems to have consolidated a bit, and it's probably going to explode from here. So yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. And I mean, look, if it does go down a little more, it's an S&P 500.
True.
Right. At this point, it's untouchable.
True.
So, I mean, you're not just going to have it's not like the past where you're just going to have a random 50% down day.
True.
Right.
True.
So, I mean, not when it's indexed like that. So I think it's more stable. It's a better bet long term. It's a little safer of a trade. Now, if you want to play options, that's a different story. But and look, if you are buying shares right now, if you want to go long, maybe a put, honestly, an out of the money put too might be worth it as far as protection is concerned.
Yeah.
So I mean that's something to think of because the IV on out of the money puts right on Tesla isn't going to be the big premium bomb that you'd think.
Okay.
So
yeah. I think it's time for Tesla to do another little run. It's really just going to come down to whether or not the space is having issues or not. Because obviously we saw a fuel cell; they're all down. So if they're all going to be down the EV market, but even Neo's starting to come back a little bit also. Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. What do you think about the other Tesla clones, as I like to call them, like the Neo and the Nikola?
I think they're all going to find their little niche, just like Ford started everything and then all these other cars. I mean, they're all going to find their own little thing. I think they're always going to be playing catch up to Tesla just because he's got such a head start with everything. And like I said, because I've said this several times, because he has SpaceX and he's just got like all this technology and these experts at his fingertips. Like when you're sending stuff into space, there's technology there that trickles down into the real world. We all know about it. So He just has he's always going to have such a big advantage having both of those at his fingertips. Like I just don't see how anyone, aside from the fact that how great Tesla is and what they've already accomplished, I just don't see how you catch up with that.
Interesting.
My personal opinion, long term, of course. So we'll see.
Makes sense.
There's a guy, I can't remember his name, but he's getting 8 people. Tesla, SpaceX, I mean, is sending a ship around the moon, and this guy bought 9 seats, and he wants to get like some of the world's most interesting like people to go up there with him. This is supposed to go in 2023. So it was something we spoke about on our other show, and because we said so, but it's interesting. Like they're already like, yeah, all right, well, we're going to send someone around the moon. So who's up first? I'm sure it'll get delayed. They always do. But what about you? I mean, do you agree with Tesla? Like, is the fact that it's just going to keep going up for a while? Like, do you feel like other competitors could possibly catch up?
Yeah. So having ties to the underground construction industry, and knowing about Tesla's tunneling company.
Boring, yeah.
The
great
Boring
double
company,
entendre.
The technology, so his drill bits and his micro tunneling machine, and I won't get into the technology right now. could revolutionize the industry.
I
The
believe it.
technology he's playing with right now, if it scales, could put a lot of people out of business. So, I mean, yes, I'm bullish on Tesla, and I'm confident that anything he puts his hands on will be a good
And
investment
all those
opportunity.
satellites that he put up there, to give internet
Yeah,
to everybody. And he put him up there with his own like rocket company. Like, it's just
yeah.
amazing, dude. He's like, I'm gonna build a whole bunch of cool satellites, and I guess I'll use my own rocket company to send them up there. It's just amazing,
And
dude.
that was a Department of Defense initiative too, right? The satellites, or am I
All the
mistaken?
way around the. I don't know. I know he's trying to basically make it available, like internet available for everybody around the world. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if that's the case, because if the United States military, which Tesla or SpaceX does have, there's some governmental contracts, let's face it, but if the government were to be
Yeah.
able to gain access to that and spy on everybody using that, there's definitely some advantage. I'm just saying, I wouldn't put it past us. That's the United States, man. Jeez.
True, true.
Secrets indeed. All right, so your last one, Plug. So you want to talk about this. This is another fuel cell company, another one that's actually, if we go to Swaggy Stocks, do I have it here? Yeah, if we go to Swaggy Stocks, it is number 6, AMC number 2, Palantir number 3, and of course GME way up there. So yeah, Plug's getting some play. Go for it.
Yeah, so I wanted to follow up on our discussion of fuel cell with a quick plug on Plug.
Oh, look at
So
you.
Plug makes fuel cells for forklifts, which is an interesting application. They're selling to Amazon, Home Depot, Walmart, et cetera, et cetera. It's a really tight-knit market. They're doing very well. They're up 50% year to date. I'm guessing they're still at around like that $48 to $50 level right now. Although they
42.68,
did take a dip. Okay, so they took a pretty big dip today, along with the rest of the
8% today.
sector. Ouch!
Yeah,
Ouch!
everyone got hammered. All of them, all the fuel cell. So when you're saying the forklift, I mean, so in the back of the forklift, you guys seen that big metal container, like, oh, there's gas in there. It's usually propane, right? If I'm not mistaken. But now they're doing that with hydrogen, essentially. Is that correct?
So normally it's a battery,
Okay.
right? A
Oh, I
lot of
guess, yeah, I've
forklifts.
seen that too. I've seen them with the
Yeah.
tank, but yeah, I guess that's true too.
Yeah, I mean, they're all hydraulic, and a lot of them use batteries,
Sure.
which can be recharged. But it looks like Plug has invested enough money into a scalable technology, which basically at this point enables them to sell at a profit these fuel cells designed specifically for forklifts,
Okay.
which is interesting.
Yeah.
So, like, I consider Plug Power to be one of the first successful fuel cell companies out there, because it really took them a lot of effort to kind of like carve out this this niche.
Sure.
They did it. They got a lot of good partnerships. I do think from a price standpoint that this is a good buying
Wow,
opportunity.
they've been
where
around
they're
for a
at right
while.
now.
Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay.
and I mean they're going to be around for a while.
No, they've been
They're
around
gonna
since
continue to
2000. Like, they've been out. I didn't realize
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, so they've been seeing the space since its maturity, we could say,
Sure.
and they actually recently struck a partnership with Renault,
Okay. Okay.
and it's a joint venture actually, and with
Who owns the Formula
SK
One
Group.
team, by the way? They are no joke. I mean, they're a highly advanced
Yeah,
technological company.
yeah. So I mean, they're going places. They're getting exposure to Asian markets, and hydrogen fuel cells are really hot right now in Asia. So, I mean, I'm really looking at them. I think if you're looking for an addition to your long-term portfolio, this is an essential.
Wow.
I think any hydrogen company is a good bet, but Plug Power and fuel cell in particular
So
are
Plug
two
Power
that,
specializes in these smaller ones, and basically Fuel Cell
yeah,
specializes in the big ones. Is that pretty much,
power plant. Yeah, we'll
yeah,
just
the
sell
way
you a
we
power
can?
plant.
Whoa, wouldn't it be amazing if they joined forces? Holy crap, dude! It'll never happen, but good
So
lord.
I mean, I would anticipate consolidation and M&A in this space when it starts getting really hot.
Sure.
I mean, because here's the thing: like a lot of these energy companies, a lot of the big majors in the oil space. I mean, what are they going to do? Just close their doors when the price of oil starts going down, when demand starts really going down? No,
Sure.
they're going to transition to something else, I'd assume.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know.
It's true.
And that's going to be
Saudi
a whole
Arabia.
other ball. That's one other ball of yarn.
Yeah, it's true. Ball of yarn. Oh my goodness. All right, so I think it's a good one. It's $42.68. It's a little bit more expensive. If we really back up, at one point it was in the 200s a share, like way back in the early thousands. But from where they've been more recently, as you guys can see, it's starting to really, really kick off. At one point, it was down to like $1, like 50 cents. Good Lord, not that long ago, $1.43. So, all right. Well, I guess with that, let's jump into the predictions. So, Vix, by Friday.
By Friday, I'm going to call it and say that we close an intraday candle below 18.
Okay.
By Friday.
Okay. We like that.
Intraday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. We heard the caveat.
Really, the level.
We heard the caveat.
Sort of
we heard.
I kind of gave myself some room there.
Absolutely. I hear you. Fair enough. All right. Well, I agree with you on that. Fuel cell, obviously plug. I expect them to all rebound. Hopefully Palantir gets its shit together. Shrimp, they actually have something coming up on the 23rd of March. They're going to be, we'll probably talk about it next week, because I'm pretty sure we can do a show right before that. But it'll be, the 23rd is actually Tuesday. All right, so we can talk about it right after the premiere. That'll be perfect. So they're going to be showcasing their Iowa facility, which is awesome. But yeah, I kind of expect everything to keep rocking, man. I'm with you on that. I'm feeling very bullish.
Like, yeah, me too.
I need to get a bull, like a charging bull sound effect somewhere. I'll look for one. So
just get like or just get a big bull tapestry to replace the
behind me,
Thomas Kincaid one you
Thomas
got. Yeah,
Kincaid. That one's awesome. We moved that one around. It's for the it's where the guest sits for our other show. So all right. Well, any last minute thoughts out there? Any other predictions?
I think the FOMC turns out to be a bunch of hot air.
Awesome.
And
we like that.
And that even if rates continue to back off, the market's still going to go higher.
We like it. We definitely like it. All right, I agree. I guess that's pretty much it. So leave us a comments with your thoughts. If you're still watching, we really appreciate you watching all the way through. We get about like 15%, which is growing, of the people that watch all the way through, which is great. Whenever we post something about shrimp, the shrimp people just watch that and then they're out, and that's okay. I'm sure maybe a couple of them stick around. It's just kind of funny because you'll just see it's like a big square round shrimp, and then the rest of it's pretty hilarious. But anyway, check out.
That's when I stopped watching.
Yeah, fair enough. So, but check out our other show, Because We Said So. It's more of a current events, more macro. As you said, there's a link down below. Thanks for watching. Last minute thoughts, Matt? Anything?
No, thanks for everyone's support. We appreciate you watching.
Yeah.
Hitting the like button.
For sure. Yeah.
As annoying as it is. Thank you.
Yeah, it makes a difference. That's for sure. So, all right. Well, we appreciate it. We will see you guys this weekend. That's for sure. Boom.
Boom.